Hello everybody and welcome back to Wesley's Plant World with me, Wesley Peterson, and today I have a video for you all about the beautiful plants that I have in front of me here. I have a big grouping of these beautiful miniature daffodils here called Narcissus cross cyclazetta, Têtê-à-tête. And these are well known and loved for their beautiful miniature flowers that they have on them. As you can see here, this whole arrangement, there must be around 100 here and they look absolutely beautiful when you have them in a big arrangement like this in front of me here. So a lot of the time people go out and buy these for Easter time to have in on the windowsill or on the table or in plant arrangements, and they look beautiful with different plants around them. For example, you can have them planted together with your early spring pansies, and then you'll have an arrangement of these flowers coming up in the middle, and then you can put your pansies around at the front that come up lower down with different colors, and it all has a buzz of energy and just gets you all excited for the spring season ahead. And something that I think is really wonderful about these little plants is that either they come up with one single flower head on a stalk, or they can come up with 2 or 3, and it's so much fun to see that out of one stalk there are 3 flower heads like on this one here. And these are really hardy little daffodils. You can keep these indoors for a period of time, you can have them outside, and you can plant them in the garden once you're finished using them indoors. This is definitely not a plant that you need to go and throw away once the flowers are spent, because they're bulbs, and bulbs go on because these are perennial plants, which means they wither down and they come back every single year. So when you go and buy them, you need to think about what you're going to do with your little plant pot once you're finished having it in an arrangement or in your house for the Easter period or so forth. And in this video, I want to tell you a few things about the plant to help you sustain the plant through this season until the next season when you get a new flush out of flowers. So if you're going to be keeping this plant indoors in a pot or an arrangement, then you need to make sure that it's not too warm, because if it's too warm, then when you go and buy these plants, if they've only just got their buds without the flowers out, then they will quickly mature because it's quite warm. They will grow up quicker and the flowers will come out quicker and they will wither away quicker as well. So you want to keep them, if you can, in a moderate temperature. And if it's an okay temperature during the day, for example, and you're not home and so forth, you can put them outside on your window ledge with an open window or so forth like that, so that they don't mature too quickly. And otherwise you can just enjoy them as you wish in your home, in your normal home temperature, and they'll last as long as they last. But they are, of course, a perennial plant that loves to live outdoors. So when you're finished, the best thing to do with these plants is, when the flowers are starting to fade away and they're spent, you go in and prune them off. And it's very simple. You just go in and you take all the flower heads and you prune them off like this and throw them away. So I have a little container next to me here. So I am going to actually take all of the heads of all of these plants in front of me here. By doing that, you're stopping the plants from using all the energy that will be used to create new bulbs being sent up to the flower head to create seeds, so that the plant can disperse itself through its seeds later on. So all of the flowers have a little green bubble behind, and that is where the kind of ovary is, where the seeds start to develop, and then they swell up and swell up and swell up. And that takes a lot of energy, and that means the bulbs that you have in your pots will only produce either very small side bulbs, and they will take a longer time to develop. So that means that the next year, when those bulbs get their leaves, they might not flower that year. They might not flower till the next year after that or so forth, until they're big enough to have enough energy to put up a flower stalk. So what you want to do is keep that energy being sent down from the leaves back down to the mother bulb, which can then produce more bulbs around the edge, and you'll get a bigger cluster of bulbs and flowers the next year. Now, who wouldn't want that? So that's an important reason to go in and take off all of the flower heads once you're finished enjoying them. But conversely, it's very important that you do not take off any of the leaves, because the plant needs the leaves to photosynthesize to be able to get the energy and the food it needs to send back down to the bulbs. So you're only going to take the flower heads off, and all these lovely green leaves you will leave on, and you will get to enjoy those right into the middle to late summer, because they last quite a while before they start yellowing off and fading away. And you don't take them away, don't prune them off until they have yellowed off. That means the plant is finished and spent all the energy that's in them. It doesn't need them anymore for the bulbs. Then you can remove them and your bulbs will stay dormant until the next springtime. So these plants, when they start flowering, they flower during April and May when they're out in the garden in a normal environment and so forth. And it depends on the temperature where you live. But around April, May, that is when they start producing their flowers. So you'll get this lovely arrangement before all your other perennial bushes and plants start producing their leaves at the end of April, May time. These will already be in full bloom and you'll be able to enjoy them. And they, as I said, can spread by producing more bulbs, and then you can split those bulbs and spread them as much as you want, or you can leave them to bunch in a group and grow out in a group. But when the group gets too big, maybe you want to go and split them a little bit to give them some more space to grow out more bulbs, because each bulb that is produced with time will want to produce more bulbs itself, so they'll need a little bit more space. But as I said, if you left the flower heads on these plants and they were out in the garden or in the wild, then of course they would produce seeds and they would disperse with seeds as well. And I know that because I do have these in my garden already, and they do spread around all different areas in the garden by themselves, and they come up in the lawn and everything else. And I've actually done a video where I show you how I go and collect my daffodils that are growing in the grass and place them around my borders. It's very easy, so you can go and collect them that way as well, saving you time and money. You could just go and collect those that you have that spread around. So anyway, these plants are all in a little pot, and if I take one up here, I want to try and get the whole thing out of its pot, because I want to show you they have these lovely white roots around in the pot, and you could put this in a see-through container, a glass container, a vase or something, and enjoy looking at those white roots as well as the bulbs and the leaves and the flowers as they grow out in your home. And when that's all done, you can go and split these bulbs. And in this pot, for example, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think about 8 bulbs in this pot, because each of these small bulbs has produced more. You can split them and put them in different areas or spread them out, or you can just plant the whole of this arrangement as it is straight in the ground in your garden, and you'll know it's going to come up the next season. So let's just have a closer look at these lovely roots on this plant. So there you go, look at these lovely white roots. They're lovely and fun and interesting to look at in a vase or some arrangement, so you can enjoy that. And you can see all of these bulbs on the top of the soil, lots and lots of them, easy to split and place out in your garden, in pots, in some kind of arrangement, and enjoy them for the rest of the season and for many more seasons to come. I just think these are wonderful little daffodils. They're so cute. Look how small they are compared to my hand. Look at that cute little flower head there in the middle. It's absolutely perfect still. So if you want to keep these lovely plants in an arrangement, remember that what you shouldn't do is water them from the top of the pot around the bulbs, because the bulbs in this situation are exposed to the air, where normally they would be under the soil, of course, protected. So when they're above the soil and exposed to the air and you go and water them and they stay too moist, then they get mold all over them. You will see green mold growing around them, and it will start to cause the bulbs to deteriorate, and they will start to rot and become soft and mushy. So never overwater your bulbs in a pot, and not from the top. Preferably get some kind of saucer, tray or something, and water them from the bottom so that the water can soak up into the pot from the bottom around the roots. And you saw how many roots there are from these bulbs in these pots. They get very big roots. So just make sure the bottom part of the pot is moist every now and again, and then let them dry out completely, and then you can water again. They don't need much water at all in a situation when they're in a pot above the soil. But if you have your bulbs in a pot under the soil, then it's a different situation. They're protected, you can just water them like normal, but let them dry out in between watering. They still don't want to have too much water. Too much water will rot them out anyway. They don't want to be bogged down in anyway in that situation in a pot. So to be on the safe side, you water through, let them dry out, and then water again. Out in your garden, well, you don't need to go and water your bulbs. They will get watered with the rain, and if there's no rain, then they will suffice with the energy that's in the bulb, and they can wait until it rains again, because usually in the spring season there isn't a long period between rainfall. But if you do feel like there's a longer, drier period, then you can go and water your bulbs, but you don't need to overdo it. They're very easy to care for in the garden. You don't need to give them fertilizer or anything like that. Just let them live naturally. They like to be kept in a sunny to semi-shady situation, and in a situation where you have a lot of organic material around them. So that's why they like to come up in the grass, for example, or where there's a lot of leaf or wood material, just to keep the ground moist and so forth, so that there's a natural balance between all the nutrients that this plant needs to survive. But they are resilient. They can be planted out, for example, here in my garden where we can get down to -15 degrees in the winter, absolutely no problem. Once these bulbs are planted out, they are good to go and look after themselves. They can take frost, and they can take a lot of different environmental conditions. For example, if it's a bit windy, or if it's very still, or when it's a wet period and when it dries out for a longer period, they cope with everything as long as they have free draining soil. So I just wanted to make this video for all of you that go out and buy these beautiful plants during the spring season to brighten up the home and garden in our wait for the summer season and all the perennial plants to start getting their foliage, and the trees and bushes, for example. They're absolutely wonderful and easy to care for, and you need to maintain them and keep them, because there is no need to throw these away at all. And even when you think they're looking their worst, still remember they're a bulb. The top part doesn't matter. The bulb will still survive as long as it's hard and it hasn't got mold or anything like that. Your bulbs can be placed out somewhere and they will bounce back. So now, with all that said, I just want to show you how I'm going to take all of these spent flower heads off these plants now to get them ready to plant out in my garden. And I am going to be making a follow-up video of this video in my garden at Crystal Cottage, where I show you where I'm going to be planting out these plants and how I do that. So make sure you come back and check out that video as well. Let me get on now with pruning back all of these spent flower heads. Just want to say that when you're doing this, don't worry if you go and chop the top of some of the leaves off. That doesn't matter. That's not going to affect the plant. But as much as possible, you just want to take the flower heads off. But the leaves are there now to absorb the sun's energy and to make lovely, healthy new bulbs for the new season. So this yellow is starting to fade away, and soon we'll have a lovely green mass in front of me here, which will also look very beautiful, I think. So there we go. I've taken all of the flower heads that I can see in this huge bundle off, and I am left with these lovely green leaves, and this looks like a lovely green mass. And I can enjoy this like this until I get around to putting these in my garden, which I absolutely can't wait for. So I just wanted to show you the leaves of these plants a little bit closer now that I've pruned off the flower heads, and you can see they're lovely, lush and green, and perfect for a couple of months yet. Absolutely wonderful. There's no problem with these bulbs. They're very happy and healthy, and they'll be even better now that the flowers have been removed. And here you can see all of the spent flower heads that I took off in their lovely yellow arrangement here. You could even fill up a little jar or a vase with these heads and just enjoy the colour until they fade away as well. Why not? And another reason I really love these plants and I want them in my garden is that they are completely 100% deer proof, and I get deer going around in my garden all the time. And in fact, I want to plot in a little video here to show you, because I had a deer wandering up the street just around the perimeter of my garden, and they come every morning around 5:30 to 6:30 in the morning on their wander around that they do every single day. They seem to take the same route every day and check out everything. I saw them go by, and well, I know that they're not going to go in my garden and munch down these plants, because these plants they are not interested in at all. And that means you can go and collect any and every different type of species and variety of daffodils you want and place them in your garden if you're somewhere where you get deer roaming around, and you will know that you will be able to enjoy those flowers coming out every season without them suddenly disappearing like they would if we had tulips, because I have tulips in my garden that were planted when I first moved in, and they never get a chance to be more than 3 inches tall. And I never get to see the flowers, and I've not bothered to go in and try and dig up those bulbs. They're in amongst other plants and things like that, so I've just left them there. Maybe one year I'll get lucky and some of the bulbs might get to keep their flowers, we'll see. But at least I know with these I'll always be able to enjoy their flowers when they come up, and I do want to get myself lots of different varieties with time because of that. Another thing that's important to remember is that this is a poisonous plant, so this is not a plant that you can eat. So this is not a plant you can go out there and harvest and eat the leaves or the flowers, and it's no good for your pets, and it's another reason why the deer don't touch them as well. So just keep that in mind. But look at this, this is a beautiful mass. Why not enjoy the green foliage while it lasts, and then look forward to the flowers coming out next season. So anyway, this is all I wanted to show you in this video, and I look forward to you coming back in the next video where I show you me planting these out in my garden and how I decide I want to arrange them. So all I have to say now is thank you very much once again for watching this video with me. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be coming up, and I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.